toddYoungONLINE presents Young Tales. Tales for the young and the young at heart. Today's story:
Bullfinch's Mythology, King Arthur and His Knights, Episode 1, The Birth of Chivalry. When the Roman eagles faded from the north and their legions withdrew from the sea, the lands of Europe fell to chaos. Chiefs and warlords carved the world into pieces, each ruling as far as his sword could reach. There was no empire now, only hunger, fear, and fire. The weak had no shield, the strong had no law, and in that darkness something new began to take shape. An ideal of honor and mercy, of courage and faith. They called it chivalry. The knights were born from the storm warriors upon horseback, steel-clad, loyal to none but their lord and their code. They were soldiers, but also symbols of strength tempered by justice, of might guided by grace. To the poor they were guardians, to the wicked they were terror, or so they were meant to be. In truth, not every knight was noble. Some were cruel masters and petty tyrants, their castles prisons for the weak. Yet even then, the idea of knighthood burned bright, a promise that one day strength and virtue might be won. An ideal greater than the man? The audience murmured. Indeed, chivalry was a dream, but one powerful enough to shape nations. A knight was not born, he was made. At 7 years of age, noble sons were taken from their homes and sent to serve in the castle of a lord. There they were pages, learning courtesy, faith, and obedience. They fetched goblets carved at table and watched their masters at arms. When they could lift a sword without trembling, they became squires. They rode beside knights in battle, carried their armor, and learned to fight. They wrestled, hunted, and trained until their bodies were iron and their will unbreakable.
Up, lad, again! The strength of your arm is nothing if your heart falters. Courage first, skill second.
Yes, my lord, again! When the time came at 21 years of age, the squire passed through the most sacred of rites. He fasted, he prayed through the night. At dawn, he dressed in white to show purity of heart. He entered the chapel. The sword he had trained with was placed upon the altar, blessed by a priest, and returned to him as a holy weapon.
In the name of God, Saint Michael, and Saint George, I make thee a knight. Be valiant, be courteous, be loyal. And with the accolade, the young warrior rose a knight, sworn to defend the church, protect the weak, and honor women in truth. He would carry that vow all his life, bound by it as tightly as the chainmail on his chest. But outside the walls, not all knights kept their oaths. Some built castles of stone and cruelty, filling their dungeons with the innocent. Others roamed the land as knights errant, seeking adventure, redemption, or glory. Who wrongs the helpless here? Stand forth if you have courage.
Good Sir Knight, the Lord's men have taken our children for ransom.
Then his tyranny ends today. These wandering champions, half saints, half swordsmen, gave birth to the stories that would one day fill every hall in Christendom. In the candlelit halls of France and England, minstrels and storytellers began to sing of these knights and their quest. Some told of true warriors, others of imagined ones, but the lines soon blurred. Tales of courage became tales of wonder. The people hungered for heroes greater than life, pure as their ideals. Their songs became their scripture, the audience said softly. Yes, and among all those songs, two names shone brightest: Arthur and Charlemagne. Arthur, the king who drew the sword from the stone, and Charlemagne, the emperor who battled the infidels. Their legends became mirrors of chivalry, teaching men to dream nobler than they were. Their stories spread first by voice, then by parchment. The bards of Wales and Brittany sang of Arthur and his knights. Geoffrey of Monmouth wrote the history of the kings of Britain, and in time others added to it.
Knights and poets alike listened to these tales and saw themselves reflected in them. Soon the line between truth and myth vanished. And from those myths rose a vision of Camelot, of the Round Table, and of knights bound not by blood or crown, but by honor alone. So began the Age of Arthur, the golden dream of chivalry, a time when valor was virtue, love was sacred, and a man's word weighted more than gold. It was a time that could never truly be, yet one the world has never stopped chasing. Next time, we journey to that dream's heart, to the young king who drew the sword from the stone, and the knights who swore fealty to his name. And here's where we end for today.
Young Tales is produced and narrated by Todd Young from toddYoungONLINE. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and join us next time for another story. Thank you for your support.